So guys, in this session we are going to see what are the anomalous properties or anomalous behavior of fluorine. So whenever we were seeing the group 15 elements, there also we noticed one important thing that whenever any group na consider ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ first element ಎಂದು ಅದುದಾದೆ ಒಂದು respective properties ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಫ್ಲೂರಿನ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ನಾವೇನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ element of the particular group, they always have an anomalous properties. Similar is the case with respect to your halogen family also. Your fluorine is having certain anomalous properties. First of all, we will see what are those different properties which will be exhibited by fluorine while the other halogens doesn't, and what is the reason for such anomalous properties of your fluorine. So to begin with, first important anomalous property which I would like to focus is about its ionization enthalpy. Yes, ionization enthalpy. Coming with respect to the another property, its electronegativity, and similarly its electrode potentials. Do remember fluorine ka ionization enthalpy value ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, electronegativity value ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, even in that of electrode potential values ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, they are very much higher when compared to the other elements of your halogen family. Similar is the case with respect to that of your ionic or a covalent radii. Similar is the case with respect to the melting point, boiling point, and also bond dissociation enthalpy is very much lower when compared to that of the other elements of the halogen. Of course, you know this part, bond dissociation enthalpy ಯಾಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತ we have studied it, because of course the reason was due to a small size ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಫ್ಲೂರಿನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು F2 ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, it will be a highly unstable. So always that element will try to become stable by dissociating itself. So if you provide certain amount of energy, less energy kuda ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, fluorine will get easily broken off. So that is the reason they are having the low bond dissociation enthalpy. Similar is the case if I go with certain reactions part. Remember, whenever fluorine is going to react with any element, most of the cases the reactions are exothermic in nature. Coming with respect to its compounds formation, remember fluorine forms only one oxo acid, that also its name. I'll just give its formula, which is called as HOF. ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಆಕ್ಸೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಫ್ಲೂರಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗೋದು, while that of the other halogens, chlorine ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, bromine ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, iodine ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, they forms a number of oxo acids. This is also quite we can say an irregular behavior of your fluorine. Coming with respect to its another compound, that is your HF, hydrogen fluoride. Basically it is liquid in nature, okay, while the other hydrogen halides, ನಿಮ್ಮ HCl ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, HI ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, they are all gaseous in nature. The basically HF ಯಾಕೆ liquid ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, because of the strong hydrogen bonding which is existing in the HF, while such a hydrogen bonding is not observed in that of the other halogens. Now when the question arises that why does your fluorines are having such anomalous properties, basically we classify those reasons under 4 important headings. The first part is about its size, which is very small. Due to its very small size compared to the other elements of the group 17, it results to the anomalous behavior of your fluorine. Coming with respect to the second part, of course due to its small size, it is having a very high electronegative value. That is also the reason which results into the anomalous properties of your behavior of fluorine. Third part is the low FF bond dissociation enthalpy. The last part is with respect to its, yes, Of course, we have seen the other elements also. That is the absence of d orbitals in the valence shell. Absence of d orbitals in the valence shell. So these are the main reason. These are the main reason which are resulting to the anomalous properties of your fluorine. What are those? First of all, we talk about its size. That is, it's having a very small size. The second part is about its high electronegativity. The third part is with respect to the low FF bond dissociation enthalpy, and the last part is your absence of the d orbitals in the valence shell. So due to these aspects, we notice that fluorine shows some different properties when compared to the other halogens of the group 17. Is that clear? So the next part we are going to see in today's session is how does your halogens are going to react with the hydrogen, with the oxygen, and also with halogen itself. Interesting part, alwa. So till now we were seeing that other elements were reacting with the halogens, but in today's session we are going to see something interesting part. Of course, hydrogen and oxygen jothe react age agutte, but also remember your halogen reacts with a halogen, and that itself is called as your interhalogen compounds. So we will go through it. So the first reactivity we are going to see how does your halogen reacts with that of your hydrogen. So reactivity with hydrogen. Yes. So basically when we talk about the reactivity of your hydrogen, remember whenever your halogens react with the hydrogen, they form hydrogen halides. They form hydrogen halides. Alva nodirbodu HX anta helteve. General agi we say it as an HX. But when we talk about how fast whether your halogens is going to react with the hydrogen anta kelidre, basically we say that as you go down the group, or we can say affinity for hydrogen. Affinity andre how much it is caring for hydrogen anta. So affinity of the hydrogen decreases from fluorine to iodine. So ನೀವು down the group ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, a tendency to attract the hydrogen goes on decreases. So of course if you know the most common hydrogen halide ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, that is your HCl ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, HF ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, HBr ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. See, all these are acids. So of course when we talk about an acid, there will be a question which is emerging in us, which is more acidic. So basically in order to say the acidic strength, your HF is least acidic, then comes your HCl, then comes your HBr, then comes your HI. Why is this so? So of course in order to understand the acidic strength, first of all we have to understand the definition of acidic in a simple terms. ಯಾವತ್ತೇ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪೌಂಡಿಗೆ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it should be what? Proton donor. That is, it has to give H+. So when we seeing these hydrogen halides, of course they are having H and an halogen. So when it has to give H+ means what should happen? Easily the bond HX should break. Alva, the bond which is existing between H and X should break, then only H+ will be obtained. So if it has to break easily, what is it indicating? Whatever the HX bond is there, it should be what? Unstable. So when we check the stability order of your hydrogen halides, what we could observe is HF is highly stable, then comes is your HCl, then comes is your HBr, and the least is your HI. So least is your HI means what is indicating? Whatever the H and the I bond has been formed, it is highly unstable. So it is always trying to wait for a reason so that it can break off easily. So when it is breaking up easily, what does it mean? Easily H+ is released. So when H+ is getting easily released, what it can say about its acidic strength? It is highly acidic. So that is the case, your HI is highly acidic when compared to that of your HF. Just the vice versa of your acidic strengths gives you the stability of your hydrogen halides. Is that clear? So these were the certain important aspects whenever your halogens reacts with the hydrogen. The first part, whenever the halogen reacts with the hydrogen, they form a hydrogen halides. Affinity of the hydrogen to attract the hydrogen by the halogen, it goes on decreases from fluorine to iodine. Coming with respect to its acidic strength, so they follow the order of HF, which is highly, we can say, which is what you can say, the acidic strength of the HF is very weak. Then comes your HCl, then comes your HBr. The highly acidic among your hydrogen halides is that of your HI. The reason because of its stability order. HI is least stable, whereas HF bond, whichever it has been formed, it is highly stable. So that is the reason we say that your HI is highly acidic, whereas HF is least acidic. Is that clear? So the next reactivity we are going to study is with respect to the reactivity or towards oxygen. How does your halogen is going to react with oxygen? Reactivity towards oxygen. Reactivity towards oxygen. Yes. So guys, basically whenever your halogens react with the oxygen, they generally form as your oxides. So first of all, when we talk about your fluorine, they generally form two oxides. They generally form two oxides. Do remember, I am taking as an oxides. Don't get confused. Sir, you first one day anta helidala ಒಂದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? Generally it forms only one oxoacid. Oxoacid ಬೇರೆ, oxides ಬೇರೆ. Okay. So generally fluorine forms how many oxides? Two oxides. That is your oxygen difluoride and that of your oxygen dioxygen difluoride, OF2 and an O2F2. So among these two oxides at room temperature, it is at nearly at 298 Kelvin, your OF2 is thermally stable. But do remember, O2F2 has also has its own importance. So whenever we talk about a nuclear fuel, basically those nuclear fuels contain certain radioactive elements. So yavaga fuel na use ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ, of course it becomes the, what you can say, uttermost responsibility to remove those radioactive elements before we are dumping it in the nature. So when you uses this O2F2, basically its role is very much important in oxidizing your plutonium, oxidizing the plutonium to that of your plutonium hexafluoride. So which is the main component, the plutonium mineral, this is actually the main component in a nuclear fuel. So ಆ ರೀಸನ್ ಇಂದ ಇದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆಯಕ್ಕೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು O2F2 ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so O2F2 ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, whatever the plutonium which is present in the nuclear fuel, it is going to oxidize it to plutonium hexafluoride. Okay, so by doing such, what happens, we are decreasing the concentration of the radioactive elements in the nuclear fuel. Coming with respect to your chlorine part, yes, basically your chlorine, it forms a chlorine oxides of the type Cl2O, similarly ClO2, similarly Cl2O6, similarly Cl2O7. So basically whenever I was talking about the chemical properties of your halogens, there I have mentioned you. What was that? Fluorine is the element or halogen which is exhibiting only -1 oxidation state. But when you talk about the other halogens, of course along with the -1 they have the ability to exhibit +1, +5, +6, +7 oxidation state. If you can recall, just try to recall, I have said that, and they are mainly observed where I have said in the oxides, oxoacids and the interhalogens. So just here is your example, certain examples of your oxide. Let's have a quick what you can say, calculation of the respective halogens. What is the oxidation state they are going to have? Consider we are not knowing the chlorine part over here, so we can take it as a 2x. Of course, each oxygen means -2, so 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. X is equals to +1 is for your dichloride oxide. Coming with respect to your ClO2, we'll be having as, of course, 1x means x minus 4, because 1 oxygen means -2, 2 2s are 4. Since it is -x minus 4, which is equals to 0, so x is equals to +4. Yes. Coming with respect to another part, Cl2O5, Cl2O6. So 2x minus 12 is equals to 0, so x is equals to +6. Coming with respect to Cl2O7, we are having the oxidation state. Let's check out. 2x is equals to, minus 14 is equals to 0. X is equals to +7. So are you able to see? Till now guys, you were only having the knowledge that your halogens are having the -1 oxidation state, but that is not the case. Here are certain examples where you could notice that even the halogens can have the positive oxidation state other than that of your fluorine. Of course, fluorine is having only -1 oxidation state. But here is the certain cases where we can observe that your chlorine is having the +1 oxidation state, +4 oxidation state, +6 oxidation state, and the +7 oxidation state. So that was the reason we said in the chemical properties that other than fluorine, other halogens exhibit the +1, +4, +5, +6 and +7 oxidation state in their oxoacids, in that of your interhalogens, and even in their oxides. So here are certain examples. Coming with respect to their uses, do remember whatever the chlorine oxides we have taken over here, they are very much reactive, and even sometimes they also explode themselves. Yes. Coming with respect to the important use of your ClO2 part, remember your chlorine dioxide, basically it is the bleaching agent, very much important. ClO2 is actually your bleaching agent. 1 mark question they can ask you. Give the composition or give the oxide of the chlorine which can be used as a bleaching agent. It is your ClO2. So basically they are used as a bleaching agent in the paper pulp and the textile industry, and even in your water treatment. So ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ in the manufacture of the papers ಅಲ್ಲಿ, even that of your textile industries ಅಲ್ಲಿ, and that of your water treatment. Coming with respect to your bromine, so bromine is forming the oxides of the type similar case Br2O, BrO2, that of your BrO3. Okay, these are the certain part where we can notice the oxides of the bromine. Here also you can just calculate similar part. Illi kuda +1 is there. BrO2 similar, you will be having +4. BrO3 means how much you will be having? +6 state. Alva 3 2s are -6 +1. So you will be having as +6 state. So here these are the general trends. You can just observe that even that of your bromines are having the positive oxidation state. And do remember the bromine oxides are very much less stable. They are least stable, and whatever the oxides, if you want to notice of the bromine, they only exist at a very low temperature, very low temperature. But one of the most important use, if you somebody ask about the bromine oxides, means they are the very much powerful oxidizing agent. Since they are very stable, of course ಏನಂತ ಅರ್ಥ stable ಕಮ್ಮಿ, ಅದು stability ಕಡಿಮೆ ಉಂಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು, whatever the bond which is existing between bromine and oxygen ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ? ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ತರದ ಏಜೆಂಟ್? ಅದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಆ ರೀಸನ್ ಇಂದನೇ ನಾವು ಹೇಳೋದು ದೇ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಗಿವ್ ದೇರ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಅದರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Coming to the next part of your halogen is your iodine. So basically iodine oxides, they are actually the solid, okay, of the form I2O4, I2O5 and I2O7. So these are the general oxides of your iodine family. Here also you can just notice, of course, if I take as a 2x minus 8 is equals to 0, so x is equals to +4. Oxidation state of your iodine over here. Coming over here, 2x minus 10 is equals to 0, so x is equals to +5. Here 2x minus 14 is equals to 0, x is equals to +7. So in all these cases what we are observing is you are having the either plus in the plus oxidation state alva. Halogens na bit, sorry, fluorine na bitti in ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದೆಲ್ಲ halogens ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, of course ಕೆಲವೊಂದು compounds they exist as a -1 also, but along with the -1 they also exhibit the plus oxidation state, and here are certain examples of their respective oxides. So similarly, if you observe that of your, which you can say fluorine, where it on fluorine, yes, OF2. O means how much it is having as, yes. So if I consider here O, so basically in both of these cases your fluorine is having the -1 oxidation state. So that was the reason when we were dealing with the chemical properties of the fluorine, again and again we were mentioning that fluorine is having only one oxidation state, that is -1, while that of the other halogens will be having the, other than -1, they will be having the positive oxidation state existing from +1 to +7, and here are certain examples of their respective oxides. Coming to the next part is the reactivity towards metal. Reactivity towards metals. How does your halogens are going to react with metals? Basically, whenever your halogens reacts with the metals, they form metal halides. They form metal halides. So basically, if I take an example, when your magnesium, which is a solid, is going to react with that of your bromine, which exists in a liquid form, you will be getting your metal halide, that is your magnesium bromide, MgBr2. Yake bantu Br2? Because we know that magnesium is having +2, whereas that of your bromine is having -1. So when you cross the valency, you will be getting the compound, this one as MgBr2. In order to balance, overall it is balanced. So it is your magnesium bromide, which will be a solid part. That is the reason we say that whenever your halogens reacts with the metal, they will be forming your metal halides. Coming with respect to its characteristics, that what type of a bond is existing, basically they are ionic in nature. But when we talk about the different metal halides, that is your MCl, MBr and Mi, generally the ionic character decreases in the order. First comes is your MCl, then comes your MBr, and the final will be your Mi, where M is your monovalent metal. M is your monovalent metals. Single valency irutte. So they are called as a monovalent. So yav tar order irutte ionic character on the study ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ generally MCl is very ionic in nature, whereas Mi is least ionic. But here one important note I would just like to mention over here, important point. Sometimes a question is asked with respect to the covalent character. Asking that among your, for example, if I ask SnCl4 and that of your SnCl2, which is more covalent? So there is a rule in which you can easily crack this question. What is the rule says? So if a metal is exhibiting more than one oxidation state, so what they are saying, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು metal ಗೆ ಒಂದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ oxidation state ಇದ್ರೆ, okay, the halides, whatever the metal halides they are going to form, in order to check which is more covalent, we have to check that the metal in which it is having the higher oxidation state, will be more covalent. Okay, the metal having the higher oxidation state, is more covalent than the metal with lower oxidation state, For example, as I mentioned earlier, you are having as an SnCl4 and an SnCl2. So in case if you just calculate the oxidation state of the tin over here, so of course x minus 4 is equals to 0, x is equals to plus 4. In the second case, you will be having as an x minus 2 is equals to 0, so x is equals to plus 2. So among these rules, which is more covalent, they have asked, and we are knowing the rule that whenever in the metal halides, if the metals are having the higher oxidation state, so such metal will be a more covalent than the one which is having the lowest oxidation state. So among your stainless tetrachloride and stainless dichloride, basically we would observe that your tin is having +4 oxidation state in the first case. Alva? So that is the reason SnCl4 is highly covalent. So let me give you a task now, just to identify in with respect to PbCl4 and that of your PbCl2. Of course, it is your PbCl4 because your lead is having the +4 oxidation state, whereas PbCl2 is having the +2 oxidation state. Similar is the case if you just observe with respect to uranium hexafluoride and uranium tetrafluoride. Of course, once again, your uranium hexafluoride is more covalent when compared to that of your uranium tetrafluoride, because your uranium exists in a +6, here in the +4. Is that clear? So whenever in a metal halides, if that same metal is having more than one oxidation state and you have been asked that which is more covalent, do remember you have to calculate the oxidation state, and there you have to note that among the given metal halides, which metal will be having the higher oxidation state, and that particular metal halide will be more covalent in nature. So coming to the last part of our session, that is about the reactivity of halogen towards other halogen. Okay, So basically these are called as your interhalogen compounds. So whenever a halogen is reacting with another halogen, such halogens are called as your interhalogen compounds. Here just I will give a brief note because in our next sessions we are going to see that how does these interhalogen compounds are formed, what are their characteristics. But before going to the complex part, first of all we'll understand what is the basic necessity things one has to know with respect to the interhalogen compounds. So whenever your halogen is going to react with another halogen, as I have mentioned, they will be forming an interhalogen compounds, and the form or the formula will be in this way. Either they are going to form as an X dash. Of course, X and X are both are your halogens. Coming with respect to another part, your X dash 3. Coming with another part, X dash 5, and that of your X dash 7. We're going to see the examples in our next sessions. But do remember, of course here X and X dash both are halogens. But there is a rule whenever we are writing this compounds, whatever the X is there, they will be actually the large size halogens. They will be large size halogens, whereas that of your X dash will be a small size halogens. So first ಯಾವತ್ತೇ ನಾವು interhalogens compound ಬರೆಯತ್ತಿಗೆ first ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, first X ಅಂತ ಬರೀತೀವಿ. That means we are going to write the large size halogens and then we write as that of your X dash, which represents your small size halogens, which is quite interesting because here you are noticing that even the halogens react with the halogens, forming a compound called as that of your interhalogen compounds. So in our next sessions, in our next video, we are going to see certain important compounds of your group 17 elements.